You know me as Dr. Jung, the psychologist, the scientist, the man who mapped the mind, who gave names to the complexes, the archetypes, the collective unconscious, all that I wrote in my later works. All of that is true. It is the science. But you must understand where that science was born. It was not born in a laboratory. It was not born in a lecture hall. It was born from fire. It was born from darkness. And it was born from this, what I call Liber Novus, the new book. You probably know it as the Red Book. This is not a book I decided to write. It is a book I had to write, to preserve my own sanity, to save my soul. It all began with a crisis, a great rupture. The years 1913, 1914. The world was descending into madness, into the first great war, and my own world was shattered. My collaboration with Freud had broken, bitterly. I had lost my teacher, my friend. I felt utterly alone. I had my patients, my family, my reputation, but inside I was hollow. I was ruled by what I called the spirit of the times, zeitgeist, rationality, science, the external world. But then I heard another voice. It was the spirit of the depths, the voice of my soul, and it demanded to be heard. I had been having dreams, visions, Europe covered in blood, a river turning to blood. These were not just a patient's dreams, they were my dreams. And they were prophetic. I understood that I had to confront whatever was inside myself, the same chaos that was about to engulf the world. So I did something no scientist would recommend I let go. We would later call this method active imagination. It is not dreaming, and it is not hallucination. It is a conscious descent. I would sit in my study, close my eyes, and say to myself, "Very well. What is in me? What do you wish to show me?" And then I let myself fall. It was terrifying. At first I met only darkness, but then figures began to rise from the dark, beings. Among the first I met, well, they were like guides. I met Elijah, the old prophet, and with him a beautiful but blind woman, Salome. She represented instinct, passion, the erotic. Elijah represented reason, knowledge. They argued constantly. I was caught between them. But the most important of them was Philemon. He appeared to me as an old man with horns and the wings of a kingfisher. He flew in the sky. At first I thought he was just some quirk of the mind. But then while walking in my garden I found a dead kingfisher. Do you understand? The psyche is not just in the head. It is real. Philemon became my guru. He was what I would later call the self. He was the part of me that knew more than my ego. Dr. Jung. He taught me that my thoughts, they are not my thoughts. They are like animals in the forest or birds in the sky. They simply are. I had to learn to separate myself from them. The book is filled with these confrontations. I met what I called my shadow. Everything I despised and feared in myself, I had to accept him. I met the anima, my inner feminine soul image. I had to learn to listen to her, not just control her. And above all, I had to confront God. The spirit of the times, our era, had lost God. We killed him with science and reason, but my soul said, God is real. Not above the rafters, but within us I had to find God again. But not just the good, kind God. I had to accept the entire image. I met a figure named Abraxas, a Gnostic deity, who was both good and evil, creative and destructive. I understood that true spirituality is not the denial of evil. It is the union of opposites, light and dark, reason and intuition, masculine and feminine. This is why the Red Book is so strange. It is filled with paintings, mandalas, complex calligraphy. I had to paint, Because words were not enough, I had to give form to the images of my soul. It was my way of honoring them. I worked on this book for years. From 1913 until the 1930s, it was my private hell and my heaven. And when it was done, I was changed. The crisis was over. You see, everything I am known for, the archetypes, the collective unconscious, individuation, it is all in this book. The Red Book was not science. It was the experience. It was the prima materia, the raw material. All my later work was just the structuring of this experience, translating it into the language of science and psychology so that others could understand, so that I could help my patients find their own souls. Why am I telling you this? Because our time, your time, has once again lost its soul. You worship the spirit of the times, technology, efficiency, the external world. But you have forgotten the spirit of the depths. The Red Book is my testimony that the soul is real. It is a dangerous place, yes, but it is the only place one can find true life. Do not forget that. Do not forget your own soul.